Alright, today I'm going to be doing a walk around video on my 1990 Chevrolet V1500 Suburban. This is up for sale currently. This has been fully restored over the last 3 years. I purchased this back in early 2020 up in Virginia, the same state that it was sold in. I actually have the information of the original owner and where it was purchased. So this vehicle has pretty much every option that was available in 1990. The only thing that it did not have was the power side mirrors. Other than that, it had the deluxe two-tone package, front and rear AC, rear defrost, rear tailgate. It did have auto hubs originally, but those were replaced at some point in time. I have put a new set of mile marker hubs on it. 350 TBI, 700R4 MP241C transfer case, and 10-bolt front and rear axles. The vehicle at this point is effectively brand new. It has less than 10,000 miles on the restoration. Engine is new, transmission was overhauled and upgraded, transfer case rebuilt, front and rear axles also rebuilt, all new bearings, everything like that. 411 gears front and rear, which adjusts for the 33-inch tires to get it back to factory RPMs, so no worry about burning the transmission up. The DRAC module for the electronic speedo has also been adjusted, so the odometer and everything works properly. Other than that, the goal here with this project was to bring it back to an OEM Plus standard. So it looks like an original vehicle, but there have been some upgrades. So the entire interior has been sound insulated. The hubs are actually OEM, but they're from a V1500. But 16-inch wheels have a lot more tire selections than 15s at this point, so that was the route that I took. Otherwise, inside, it looks mostly stock, but everything in here is pretty much new or restored OEM parts. New headliner, re-dyed interior bits, new burlwood trim for there. The carpet is new all around. Obviously, I mentioned sound deadening. All these have been restored, so as mentioned earlier, front and rear AC, rear defrost, the rear window button, OEM radio as well, which has been restored and works flawlessly. It also plays tapes perfectly as well. So that is run to a Kenwood deck, which is located right here. The main purpose of that was to still retain the OEM radio in its factory location, but still get some, aftermarket support for Bluetooth and all the crossover settings, because as you can see, aftermarket kick panels have been installed with speakers. So 6.5s down here, 3.5s up in the dash on both sides, or these are the tweeters, 3.5s here. In the rear, similar story, but these are actually custom speaker pods. The nice thing with all these are they use the OEM mounting holes, so no new holes were drilled, and I still have the original speaker pods, so if the new owner wants to go back to that, then you're more than welcome to. As mentioned, this one does have rear AC as well. It works flawlessly. That entire system was overhauled, and it blows, generally speaking, on a hot day, somewhere in the range of high 30s to low 40s out of the vents. So that is running R134 refrigerant, but the trick with that was all the blend door actuators in here have been upgraded. New ductwork tape has been added, and then I'll show under the hood all of the new AC bits that are in there for that. $161,000 miles on the body. I wanted to show that while I'm over here. This is a custom RPM gauge, which is meant to match the OEM style gauges. Paint overall in really good shape. There's some imperfections because most of it's paint from prior to my ownership, but anyway. So as you can see, this is brought back to just about as close to OEM as possible, including decals. As many of the decals that I could replace, I did. Everything under here is either new, restored, or, you know, it's been refurbished as much as possible. So this is the secret to my AC performance on this. So this is a Sandon 7-piston compressor. It has been mounted using adapter brackets, which allowed me to use the OEM AC lines with a simple extension piece there. So all the OEM bits for AC are still there, but it works so much better than the original compressor. But anyway, this is the engine bay, pretty much flawless. Entire fuel system, including the TBI unit, has been redone. So TBI has been rebuilt. All sensors on the engine are brand new. GM parts were used where possible. Some of it's either AC Delco, or sometimes Advanced Auto Parts carried some of these parts, but most of this I tried to stay with GM parts. So that is that. Glove box, good shape. Don't mind some of the dust in here. Haven't had a chance to clean it. Factory ashtray. I just use it for coins, so you know, no worries there. In here we've got factory manual. All that. I also have a dealer brochure, so a lot of good stuff there. Seats are really the only upholstery that has not been replaced, mostly due to the fact that it was overall in great shape. Driver's side had a little bit of wear, but this fabric is basically unobtainable. So, you know, you either find, you know, used stuff, which generally is in similar shape, or you go with new upholstery, which just doesn't match OEM. So I did what I could with this, restuffed the driver's seat, restuffed the armrests, so all these are good to go, repadded. In the back, similar story back here. Nice and clean. This is the 4-channel amplifier for the speakers. Works great. Ground all solid in there. All right, so 4-channel amplifier, everything is neatly done. All wires are properly terminated, fused, so no problems there. This is the subwoofer amplifier. I really didn't need anything crazy, simply because, you know, this isn't meant to blow the windows out. I just wanted a little bit of additional bass with the system. I typically listen to a lot of rock, so helped a lot with that. Other than that, nice and clean in here. Fire extinguisher, not that it's needed, but good to have just in case of an emergency. Obviously all the seats work as intended. Rear carpeted area in fantastic shape, brand new spare tire. Also wanted to mention that all of the window motors are either replaced or cleaned and new, what is it called? Grease added. All of the window motors have also had relays added with 10-gauge wire runs to the engine bay, so it takes all of the strain off of the factory wiring, and it's significantly sped up the window motors. So you will not have any issues with the window motors on this. All the switches are also brand new. Was having some issues with the original ones. As many people know, they tend to wear out over time. So a little bit better picture of the interior. Steering wheel has also been leather wrapped, so that was a nice addition. Overhead console, all of these work. All of these have been rewrapped, so no issues there. Go ahead and show you in the back. So this is the rear, in great shape. me a second here, trying to get the key out. So power rear window, nice and quick. And as you can see, it is in fantastic shape back here. Absolutely no rust whatsoever on this vehicle. Again, all of this has been sound insulated, so it drives down the road nice and quiet. Obviously brand new spare tire. This is a 31.5-inch tire, so it's somewhat close to the tire that's currently on it, which is roughly a 33. Don't have to slam the tailgate, closes easily, and the window motor works perfectly. So there's that. This also has keyless entry that I have added, so this will have 2 key fobs, unlock and lock. Works perfectly. Brand new rear impact strips. The front are restored OEM. These pieces are original OEM. I cleaned them up the best I could, but these have been unavailable for close to 20 years, so nothing you can really do there. Absolutely no rust in the quarters. No rust in the rear wheel wells, as you can see, completely rust free. I will also include here shortly some pictures showing all the underside that I've had up on a lift, and you'll be able to see this vehicle is just about as perfect as it could be. Absolutely no rust. Wax pencil marks. This was the 78th unit off the line. Still has the wax pencil marks there too. All in good shape. Nice and rust free. Front and rear drive shafts are also new. Body mount bushings also new. Suspension all new bushings, tie rods, drag link, sway bar bushings, brake lines, all of it has been replaced. No rust up here at all. Front differential. All the brakes have also been done. The front wheel bearings, rear wheel bearings, all that. Koyo bearings were typically used. Sometimes I use Timken, really just depended on availability. Absolutely no rust. Nice and clean. Same story on this side. Steering shaft, brand new. Rag joint deleted, so no issues there. Very tight steering. Catalytic converter was replaced. Just as rust free on this side too. No rust over here. Rear wheel wells also rust free on this side. Exhaust has had a little bit of work done, mostly to just clean up some work from one of the previous owners. It's a nice little dump right there, so keeps the exhaust nice and high. Heat shielding on the tank. Absolutely no rust over here either. I'll go ahead and pause here for a minute and throw up some pictures so you'll be able to see that. Again, paint is in overall great shape. Some of it is not perfect, but you know, has a couple dings here and there. But overall, the paint is in really good shape. Door jamb paint overall in good shape. Some chips here and there, but as you can see, all the door seals are also brand new. Window seals also new. Precision seals were used for all of this, so there is absolutely no wind noise. Additional seals were also added to help mitigate that. New door striker bushings. All of that to say that pretty much everything on this vehicle is brand new. New bulbs inside and out. All the vents are brand new, so they hold exactly where you put them. No issues there. All right. Factory jack as well, and factory jack over there. I'm gonna go ahead and start it up here. Starts up fantastic, great oil pressure. Alternator is also brand new. It is a PowerMaster unit with a higher output, which helps because there are 2 additional cooling fans on the condenser to help with AC performance. So we'll go ahead and get this started up. It is cold. As you can see, it starts right up. No issues whatsoever. Great oil pressure. As you can see, it is cold. Idles perfectly. Great voltage. Another look at that factory radio. So all that works. AC. Nice and cold. Go ahead and hop in. So all the windows work great. All the trim pieces are in. Sun visors are in fantastic shape. They were also repadded with the headliner. So, original GM floor mat in the rear. And let me get this thing all ready and then we will go for a drive. Wanted to go ahead and also do just a full walk around. I kind of missed this in the first part of the video, so deluxe two-tone, as I was saying, silver and black. This is a GM black. Pretty much all new molding. As I said earlier, some of it has been restored. Roof paint is also in pretty good shape. Not perfect, but overall good shape. And let me go ahead and open the hood here. Let you hear it run. Runs great, idles down perfectly. Runs buttery smooth. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get this closed up and then we will go for a drive. Oh, also brand new headliner, hood liner too. All right, we're about to head out for this drive. I'm gonna throw it in four-wheel drive real quick just to show y'all. Works great. I've driven it in four-wheel drive all the way up to about 55 miles an hour, so it works great in four-wheel drive. Shifts perfectly. Down kind of a side road here. So give me just a minute and I'll be back. All right, I am back and we are just cruising down the road. AC is on, nice and cold. It is currently about 95 here, and when I checked it a minute ago, we're blowing somewhere in the low 40s out of the vents. Handles great. Absolutely no play in the steering whatsoever. As I mentioned, everything in the steering and suspension is brand new. Same with the drivetrain. Literally drives like a brand new car. You can probably hear a little bit of the exhaust note in the car. I wanted to keep it mostly mellow, so it originally had a Flowmaster 40 on it when I got it. Sounded nice, but a little bit too loud for what I wanted to go for. So this is actually a Flowmaster 50 series, and the catalytic converter is a MagnaFlow high flow 3-inch in and 3-inch out. The original one was pretty much past its prime, so I replaced that about a year ago. Realistically, has maybe 5,000 miles on it. Like I said, has less than 10,000 miles on the restoration. We're just cruising along right now at 45 miles an hour. No vibrations, no shakes, anything like that. It's nice and quiet in here. Look here, all the gauges, what we're currently sitting at. I recently took this on a trip all the way to Atlanta and kind of around North Carolina, so all in, that trip was close to 1,000 miles. Absolutely no issues. Drove great the whole time, even up and down the mountains and all that. The 411 gears really helped with that. From factory, this one in particular came with 373 gears, which would probably be adequate for mostly flat areas, but the problem you run into, and you don't really see done that often, is you get these vehicles that get larger tires, 33s, 35s and up, and they stuff these tires on these vehicles, and then there's no gearing change done, and The problem you run into with that is, yeah, you know, you might be cruising at a lower RPM on the highway, but for one, you lose a lot of the low end power. And the bigger issue is when these kick into overdrive, if they are not at the proper RPM, you can actually burn up overdrive because the pump in the transmission will not run fast enough to pump the fluid necessary. So, you know, the 411 gears on this have really helped a lot, and that was done prior to the new transmission being overhauled. So the transmission also had some upgrades done, which I had mentioned kind of briefly earlier. It had Corvette servo put in, updated friction bands. The clutches were a little bit higher performing. The torque converter, I know they went with kind of a factory stall. I had personally wanted that because this has only really been a cruiser for me. There's really wasn't any reason to go with a higher stall converter. So this particular one is somewhere in the 13-ish 100 RPM range, which is what they came with from the factory. Also forgot to mention, 4-low works fantastic as well. You know, I just only will use that if it's on dirt, but it does work perfectly. Shifts into that, no problems whatsoever. All the wing windows also work. When the seals were done on those, all the rivets were also replaced, so they open nice and smooth. They latch tightly. There's no wind noise from them. I've had this up to, you know, realistically 80, 85, you know, for sustained periods on the highway, and there's been no issues with wind noise or anything like that. So works great. Because this does have the aftermarket Kenwood radio, I also have the microphone for Bluetooth up here. If you want to remove that, you can, but you know, I felt it was pretty adequate having it there, considering, you know, the factory radio is just right there. You know, no problems with that. Also track straight going down the road, as you can see here. The wiper arms are actually upgraded, so these came with kind of a weird pin style hook on the wiper arms, and it only allowed you to have, it was roughly a 14-inch wiper on these, which is pretty undersized for the size of windshield. But the problem was the way that they went across the windshield, it just didn't really allow for a larger size. So these are actually forward wiper arms from a 1996 F-150, and they fit onto the spline portion perfectly, and they allow for the traditional, you know, new style J-hook wipers, which allowed for, I believe I had fit 18-inch wiper blades on this, so works great. Windshield washer nozzles attached to it as well, so all that works great too. Probably forgot to mention this earlier, but this vehicle does have cruise control, and that does work perfectly. Once I can get to a little bit faster of an area, I'll throw that on, just so that you can see what I'm talking about. But I use it pretty frequently when I take this on the highway. Alright, go ahead and turn it on, and alright, as you can see, foot is off, and we are cruising at 45 miles an hour. It also has the speed up function, so you can speed the vehicle up with the cruise control stock. This has the tilt and telescoping, or tilt steering column. Go ahead and give it a little bit here. Shifts nicely, no matter if you gun it or not. Nice firm shifts. And that is pretty much the tour. So I hope I covered everything. If you have any other questions or things that you would like to know about it, please just put a comment down below. I'll link my email address so that if you do want to reach out to inquire about it, you can do that. But other than that, hope this was helpful, and look forward to hearing from anyone that's interested. So have a good one.